And when they didn't win their games they were supposed to win last week.
Probably something about stepping up.
If they had won those games like they were supposed to, let's say they won 5 out of 6, right now
Stop
they'd
right
be
there.
in first place.
Stop right there.
Why?
Like they're supposed to. Well,
Yes.
that means the other team is just there
Yes.
to serve as the Washington Generals.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say it was entertainment like that. I said that the Yankees should know because
They do know.
Well, they're
trying to win the games.
They didn't
I don't
do it.
understand why you don't get this concept.
I do
That
get the
both
concept.
teams on the field are trying to win the game.
I do get it, but the Yankees should know better that this is their time to make their moves.
Like for example, Aroldis Chapman on Friday did not want to give up a home run
I didn't say
in the 10th inning.
I didn't say he did it on purpose.
Well, no, but the Yankees wound up losing 2-1. That was a game they should have won.
Right.
They needed to win that game, and if they would have won that game, they'd be 2.5 games behind the Red Sox instead of 3.
According to Daily News, they're 2.5 out.
I'm pretty sure that's wrong, but
Well, I'm just saying.
check
Checking the Sunday results.
Check that on the computer. You might have an early edition there for the.
Well, Baltimore is 8 games out. Baltimore beat Boston 2-1 on Sunday.
Yeah, don't worry about Baltimore. Let me look in my New York
Well, you
Post.
don't like Baltimore? You don't think they have a chance?
They're awful.
You don't like
They don't have.
Buck?
They don't have. I like Buck a lot, but they don't have the pitching. They're not going to get it done.
Okay, just checking. Today, the Yankees are hosting Cleveland.
You're making me look in the paper now.
And the Boston.
Oh, it does say 2.5. When did that happen? I looked at the MLB.com standings yesterday, and it said 3.5.
No, they were wrong.
Oh, that's even better.
And Boston.
I could have given Croce more grief.
Yeah, your buddy Croce. And Toronto is hosting Boston tonight, so
Yes.
maybe they can do.
But
something.
double check that on MLB.com just to make sure. They used to be the most up to date stats. I don't know what's going on with that. I checked that a couple of hours after the games were over.
So there is a forthcoming another series with the Yankees in Boston.
Yeah, that's coming up this week. Right, tonight the Yankees will start a 3-game series with the Cleveland Indians, and everybody should be watching that game. You have two Cy Young contenders, even though obviously Luis Severino for the Yankees isn't going to win the Cy Young, but I think he's going to probably be in the top 5 voting. And he will be going up against Corey Kluber, who, as far as I'm concerned, should get the Cy Young Award because Chris Sale has been very ordinary in his last 4 or 5 starts. So you're not going to find a much better pitching matchup than Kluber against Severino. The problem for the Yankees is this. They're playing the Indians followed by the Red Sox. That's playoff baseball right there. The Yankees have 3. The good thing is all of these games are at home. 3 against the Indians, 4 against the Red Sox. That's the Yankees' week. And this is going to be a very telling week because it might as well be the playoffs. And if the Yankees want to win the division,
Right. By the way, MLB.com has this 2.5.
it does. All right, so I don't know what happened yesterday. Somebody was asleep at the switch.
Though they have wild card games back plus 3.5. Maybe that's where I saw it from.
No, well, I don't know, maybe. But as far as the wild card goes, the Yankees are in. Remember how it was last year when I kept saying the Yankees need to get to 10 over?
Right.
Before I'm going to start thinking about them. Look, if you look at the wild card standings in the American League, the team behind the Yankees is probably 3 games over 500. So basically you have a bunch of 500 teams, and you have the Yankees who are either going to win the division or are already separated from the rest of the wild card contenders. So as far as I'm concerned, unless something goes drastically wrong for the Yankees, they've already got a postseason spot. I'm not even going to call it a playoff spot because you know how I feel about the wild card. I don't consider the wild card a playoffs.
No.
It's postseason, yes, but it's one game.
Right.
And unfortunately, the Yankees don't have. I mean, to me, I guess Severino is the guy that you have to look to start. But will it be his turn? And that's the randomness of the wild card game is who's going to be your pitcher. You don't have time to set up your pitching staff in terms of, all right, this is the guy that we need to be starting when that game comes around. So it's kind of hit or miss in terms of who your starter is going to be. A real playoff team has the last few days of the season to kind of organize the rotation, maybe give guys a couple days off, and be ready. The wild card doesn't afford you that. So I'm not a big fan of that game, but that's obviously that's what could get the Yankees into the postseason this year. I still think they have a pretty good shot at beating the Red Sox. The Red Sox aren't playing well right now. Their pitching staff is all of a sudden in a shambles. Chris Sale, who's been unhittable most of the season, his last 3 or 4 starts has been terrible. He had a start against the Orioles the other night. He gave up something like 6 runs in 3 1/3 innings. That's not a Cy Young guy.
No.
So all of a sudden, the Yankees gained 2 games in the last 2 days. They should have been 3 games in 3 days because, like I said, that game on Friday night, that was such a winnable game. And it was really a disappointment for Yankee fans that they came out of that with a loss. I could question Joe Girardi's managing and his use of the bullpen. I thought he should have left Chad Green in for another inning instead of bringing Betances in. But I'm not going to question too much of what Girardi does because he's done a good job. I have no complaints with Joe for the most part. But like I said, this week, Indians, you're starting with Kluber. They have a good rotation.
Right.
The Yankees need to hit. Starlin Castro is back now. Greg Bird is back now, and already has looked much better at the plate than he did for the first month of the season when he was batting about 130.
What's the deal with Aaron Judge?
There's no deal with Aaron Judge. He's still struggling to a certain extent. He hasn't hit a home run in a while. It's been a week or so, maybe more. But Gary Sanchez has been hitting the ball quite well. They're going to have to deal with the suspensions from the fight against the Tigers, which we didn't even talk about. But there was a beanball incident, and a lot of. I mean, the problem that I had with that was that Michael Fulmer clearly hit Gary Sanchez intentionally. Gary Sanchez hit a home run. His next time up, and it's hit a lot of home runs lately, but his next time up, Michael Fulmer drilled him in the hip. And that is standard baseball procedure when a pitcher is deliberately hitting a batter. All right, hit him in the hip. Send a message. And just say, all right, you know what? Hey, dude, I don't like the fact that you're hitting home runs against us this much. You need to get a little less comfortable at the plate. So, boom, I'm going to drill you. And cool, no problem. It's been going on in baseball for 100 years.
Right.
But nowadays, it's all about the warnings and the umpires getting involved. And I'm sorry, but I don't know how anybody gets to become a major league umpire and has so little feel for the game as the crew that was doing the Yankees-Tigers game the other night.
Well, it could be, brother, that there's so many new rules about. You can't do this
but there's
anymore.
not.
But
all of that, the hitting batters and the doing, it's all about feel. And Dellin Betances wound up hitting a Tigers player in the head. I think it was James McCann. Hit him in the head with a pitch. And and I'm not saying this because I'm a Yankees fan. It clearly was unintentional. The Yankees had just rallied. They had just tied the game. It was 6-6. I think there were 2 outs. And I want to say it was an 0-2 pitch. And it got away from Betances, hits the guy in the helmet, and they throw Betances out of the game. It's all you need to do is look at the scoreboard. He's not trying to hit this guy.
No,
the Yankees just came back and tied the game.
Part of the reasoning that
I understand, given the situation and circumstances, that they threw him out. I can accept that. I didn't like it because I knew it wasn't intentional, but fine. But then another pitcher comes in for the Yankees and hits a guy in the hand. Now his hands are above the plate. So it's not like he's headhunting the guy, but, that turns into an issue. Then Miguel Cabrera gets into it later with Austin Romine. And as soon as Romine, Miguel Cabrera kept saying to Romine, according to Romine, you got a problem with me. Because apparently they threw a pitch inside or something. And it's like, he wanted to fight. Because Cabrera has been outspoken about Tigers pitchers not protecting Tigers hitters, and he wants retaliation. So Romine didn't say anything to Cabrera. Cabrera kept jawing at him. Romine finally takes his mask off, and as soon as he does that, Cabrera pushes him, hits him, punches him twice. Like tried to land real punches, which in a baseball fight almost never happens. And then Romine must have some wrestling background or something because he took Cabrera down easily.
Right.
Scored a 2-point takedown without a doubt. It grabbed him grabbed him by the legs, took him down. I think he might have landed a punch, but basically defended himself. He got suspended for 2 games for defending himself.
That's one of the problems.
Which is ridiculous.
So we got 3 minutes left, brother.
Oh, man. Show went fast this week.
Yes, it did. Quickly, we forgot to mention something our good friend Bob Tuck said.
What's that?
About David Wright and...
Yeah, let's just throw that out there.
Throw it out there. It's a good idea.
My man Bob Tuck has said this.
We've known forever.
And I know Darren DeVivo probably won't like this, but he suggested, and I don't think this is an awful idea, instead of David Wright trying to make a comeback as a player, make David Wright the next manager of the Mets.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Now, David Wright is a great baseball guy.
Yep.
Knows the game.
Yep.
Like I said, has been the face of the franchise for a decade now.
Everyone loves him.
And I really think should just say, you know what, the playing days aren't happening anymore. My back is too screwed up. And we talked about this when it was first diagnosed, the spinal stenosis. It's not anything that's going to get better.
No, it doesn't get better.
It doesn't get better.
It's not like you take a pill and it goes away.
So why not make David Wright a manager like the White Sox did with Robin Ventura a few years ago?
Yeah,
that worked out well. The White Sox won a World Series.
I think that's a great idea.
You put a veteran bench coach with him, and make it. Obviously, it's going to be on the job training, but you know what? The Mets have had worse managers. I think it's. I don't know if they'll do it, and I don't know if David Wright wants to do it because I don't know if he wants to grief.
No, I don't think he's ready for it yet.
But it was a decent thought.
It's a good idea, but he's not ready in his head to let it go yet, and I don't blame him. You don't want to think 10 years, maybe if I'd done that. So we'll see what happens with him. He's going to be playing some Cyclones games, right? So,
I have no idea.
I'd read that there might be.
There's not much time left in the Cyclone season.
Yeah, I know.
So
they only have a couple of games. I mean, Matt Harvey's going to be there again.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows with him. Anyway, we got a couple of minutes left, brother. We should say that the U.S. Open in tennis opens today in Flushing Meadows at Corona Park.
Corona Park? No, the Billie Jean King Tennis Center.
Well, it's Corona, part of the park. It is in the park. You know that. You know that, right?
Stop giving the beer companies plugs.
I'm not. It's not Corona. Corona's Queens, you idiot. Not Corona, the beer.
Yeah.
You live in Queens. It's Queens. You should know this.
Making a joke. Jeez.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
You are? Okay. Okay, if you say so.
Nobody calls it Corona Park.
I know that. I'm just saying. Anyway, so it starts so the next couple of weeks.
Andy Murray has pulled out of the U.S. Open, by the way.
And I want to see what happens with Maria Sharapova. She's in as a wild card.
Yes,
and
she's back from her drug suspension.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. It's always amazing. We have one of the biggest tennis tournaments in the world, and it doesn't get I don't think it gets the coverage. Go
to the U.S. Open, people. Go buy tickets.
I've been there. I went with Suzanne a couple of times. It's
an event.
It is an event, and that's the way it should be. Also, the Jets and the Giants played I don't know if it was a good game or a bad game.
Good game for the Giants. And a good game for Bryce Petty.
It was a good exhibition game, I guess, for Bryce Petty.
29-3 at halftime for the Giants, and then the Jets roared back, scored what could have been the tying touchdown, but they went for the 2-point conversion, and the Jets being the Jets, they didn't make it. Yeah,
maybe she tied it. So anyway, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a long season for the Jets.
Nobody knows who the Jets' starting quarterback is.
Yeah, isn't that hard to believe?
And Josh McCown didn't play a single snap in that game against the Giants. So I don't know what the Jets are doing. It really is becoming more and more obvious that they're tanking the season.
They have no idea what they're doing.
They do know what they're doing. They're tanking. They want to be able to get a real quarterback in next year's draft. Plain and simple. That's what they're doing.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's just going to be horrible.
Yes.
Lots of tickets, very easily. If you want to go, if you just want to enjoy a game, I guess is the best way.
Yes.
Maybe not a win, but
Craigslist.
Enjoy.
Craigslist is StubHub.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, we got to get out of here, brother.
Transfer window in soccer closes this Thursday at 6. There's a lot of money going to be getting thrown around this week. That's the last chance that people have or teams have to buy players. That closes on Thursday at 6 p.m. I think 6 p.m. 11 p.m. local time, 6 p.m. over in the UK. So your team, if you follow the Premier League like I do with Tottenham, you have 4 days to get players.
Really?
Yes. Otherwise, the window closes until January.
That's a weird situation.
So no acquisitions. This is the last 4 days you have. So get on it, Daniel Levy.
Yeah. So anyway, we're out of here. Next week we start our new time.